It is time once again to drag the country through the divisive and corrosive constitutional exercise known as the Supreme Court nominating process. It is going to be ugly. It does make you feel kind of sorry for this guy, Judge Brett Kavanaugh, the man who was recently nominated by President Donald Trump, because now everything he has ever written, said, or did, everyone he has known or talked to, any organization he belonged to or donated to, every movie he rented, will be muckraked over to try to make him look evil. It wasn't always like this. In 1986, the ultra-conservative Justice Antonin Scalia was nominated by Ronald Reagan and confirmed by the Senate 98-0. And in 1988, Justice Anthony Kennedy, who just retired, passed the Senate 97-0. But not all of Ronald Reagan's Supreme Court nominees just sailed through. In 1987, former Yale professor, former Solicitor General, former Attorney General, former District Court Judge Robert Bork was nominated by Ronald Reagan and was voted down by the Senate 58-42. The viciousness of the attacks on Robert Bork simply because he was a conservative has now become a verb. Those who undergo a vicious nominating process are said to be Borks. Clarence Thomas, nominated by George W. Bush in 1991, was borked because he was too conservative, but a Republican Senate still confirmed him 52-48. Judge Kavanaugh is expected to be confirmed by the Senate with a similar vote. And by all accounts, he is immensely qualified, but he will be painted by the Democrats as being too conservative. When you throw in the fact that he was nominated by Donald Trump, and being anti-Trump will be a key Democratic issue in the midterms, well, then you have an explosive combination. Of course, many of the attacks will be in retaliation to the fact that the Republicans wouldn't even call a vote for President Obama's Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland, during the 2016 presidential election. Ideological control of the Supreme Court has been a take-no-prisoners tug of war for decades. Still, you have to feel sorry for Judge Kavanaugh, who brought his family to the nomination announcement, and now they and his impeccable career will be torn apart by politics. Let me remind you that during the 2016 presidential campaign, Brett Kavanaugh's name was on a list of 25 people that Donald Trump said he would nominate if he became president. One of the main reasons he was elected was because of that list. So the people put Donald Trump into office to make this pick. It may not be worth the fight for the Democrats to go against the will of the people, especially senators running for re-election in states where Donald Trump won big, senators like Joe Manchin in West Virginia and Senator Joe Donnelly in Indiana. But actually, the fight is going to be just as much in your inbox as in the Senate. This is all about raising money for the midterm elections. Republicans and Democrats have already sent out the fundraising emails. I'm sure you've seen them. As with everything in Washington, this is about money and power. I guess it's naive to long for a time when the Senate only fought against Supreme Court nominees when they weren't qualified, and not just because they disagreed with them. As the saying goes, elections have consequences. There is a simple way to get the Supreme Court nominees that a party wants. Win the presidential election. That's what Donald Trump did. I'm Larry Mendte. See you again next week.
Tremendous talent in this room.